Hello YouTube viewers, I am SamT456 and I'm going to do a new web series called My Top 5. This is going to mostly focus around nerd related areas such as science fiction or fantasy such as Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. And I thought I'd start off with a popular subject that most nerds or pretty much enjoyers of science fiction will appreciate, and this is Star Wars. Let's have a listen to that fantastic theme tune, shall we? Beautiful, isn't it? Yes, and to show just the extent of how fantastic that is, we're going to look at the top 5 video games of Star Wars. Now, these can cover any sort of platform, although about 3 of them are from the same platform, but that's because that platform's fantastic, and that is PS2. 3 of them from PS2, 1 from Xbox, and 1 from the PlayStation 1. Yes, I'm a veteran. I'm a nerd. Kill me. So, the first game we're going to look at number 5 is this. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace on PlayStation 1. Now, the first thing I have to say is the graphics are appalling. The gameplay's a bit basic. The storyline follows Episode 1, so obviously it's a terrible storyline, but what is fantastic is the immersibility of the game, how fantastic it makes you feel. You look in some other movie tie-ins, such as like, oh god, got some god-awful ones. Look, think about any sort of science fiction movie, and they probably made a tie-in movie of it, and it's absolutely appalling. But this one actually follows the story fantastically, and that's what I love about it, because many Star Wars games, and many games in general, don't really stick to the main areas of it. And this game was actually made with George Lucas, the first PlayStation game to actually have George Lucas's name associated with it. And so because of that sense of nostalgia I still get when I play it on my classic PS2, which still is alive amazingly, I still feel the sense that they pack so much more into the game than they possibly have in the film, and the plot makes a lot more sense. So it's made me hate Episode 1 a lot more. And any self-respecting Star Wars fan should know that Episode 1 is close to appalling, because it's obviously the new trilogy, and the new trilogy compared to the original trilogy completely sucks. So it still deserves a rightful place in my number 5 slot. So this is 5. Let's have a look at number 4. And this is the PlayStation 2 version of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now, this is another movie tie-in, and again, another fantastic tie-in. They add, rather than just sticking to the story very well, which they do, they actually add in a lot of extra missions and a lot of extra plot. Like, for example, there's a fantastic level in this, or anyone who's seen the film, spoiler alert, for anyone who hasn't seen the film, spoiler alert, the scene where Anakin fights Mace Windu, the battle scene in that is absolutely amazing. And the sort of the control of the characters, like using Force Lightning or Force Push or anything, it's really innovative. And also the Star Wars actual fighting moves, like the parry, the thrust, and the stab. That's stab, by the way, just in case you're wondering. Is actually done by the stunt coordinator who did the Star Wars movies. So just like how close to the actual fighting style, you actually feel as close to being a Jedi as you possibly can. Until we get to our number 2 slot, but we shall get to that in a second. So, good gameplay, good graphics, and actually, play it. Seriously, play every single mission up to level 17, and there's a fantastic twist where you actually get to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi as Anakin Skywalker. And then you get to play out what happened if he actually won the Battle of Mustafar. Again, spoiler alert, but any self-respecting fan should have this in their categories. Number 3, also on Star Wars, Bounty Hunter. Now in this game you play as Jango Fett, and it's just fantastic that it's a Star Wars game that's not focused on like jet fighters or Jedi. You actually play it as a bounty hunter that anyone should know was introduced in Episode 2 and is the father/original clone template for Boba Fett, one of the most popular characters in the Star Wars galaxy. Now this game is brilliant. If you just look at the back of the box there, you can see the number of things. You have the twin blasters, and you also have your jetpack. And the jetpack is absolutely so much fun. Seriously, the game would be just a basic shooter without this, but with the jetpack, it makes it so brilliant. And the people who made this really know their Star Wars. The levels inside it, the characters involved, and the different planets. Like, for example, on Coruscant, there's about 5 different levels there. And the immersibility of it, and just like the different cantinas and the different Republic sectors, it feels absolutely amazing. So, a well-deserved spot, Star Wars Bounty Hunter on PlayStation 2. Now, the first Xbox 360 and the only Xbox 360 game to actually appear in this list is one of my personal favourite games, Star Wars The Force Unleashed. Now, this game is simply carnage. It is one of the most basic games you could possibly play in the sense that it's just pretty much a basic hack and slash. But I'm not going to say immersibility again, but the features in this game are brilliant. You literally feel like you are the most powerful person on the planet. They unlike any other game, they fully utilise the force powers from Force Lightning, Force Grab, and Force Throw, and it's like the control system's mental. It's pretty much if you just hack X, obviously anyone would know that means attack in any basic game, you can kill an enemy enough, but then there's enemies that are resistant to lightsaber, so you have to use the force. I'll put this down. So you have to use the force, such things like Force Lightning or Force Push. But the enemies you fight are incredible. You fight things like the Rancor, you fight Jedi Masters. You actually, like, once if you unlock certain levels, you can actually fight Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's just incredibly fun, brilliant to play. Bit basic, but now we come to the number one slot. Bit of theme music, I think. I'm not sure if you can even hear that, so it might just end up being pointless. So just picture the Star Wars tune in your heads for number one, Star Wars Battlefront 2 on PlayStation 2. Now, anyone who has a PlayStation or anyone who's a Star Wars fan will know this is an absolutely amazing game. Star Wars Battlefront 1 came first, obviously, and it was fantastic. It's putting you in the Clone Wars and in the Galactic Civil War between the Republic. No, not between the Republic, sorry, the Rebel Alliance and the Empire. But then you can also play missions involving sorry about this, between you can become droids and you can become clones and fighting in the Clone Wars. What's brilliant about it is it's just like it's a basic shooter game, pretty much stripped down to its basic, but the idea of capturing command posts and reinforcements and playing as Jedi generals when you unlock it, which is absolutely brilliant, is a really fantastic feature. What makes it even better though is you don't just play sort of like as the basic game, because in the other game you just play like as the Rebel Alliance and fighting the evil Empire. But in this game, you can actually play as the Evil Empire. You can play as the droids. You can play like a Darth Maul, which I think is fantastic for anyone to play. So, I think any nerd will know, or any Star Wars fan, any sci-fi fan, or any PlayStation fan should have this game in their collection. I'm not saying the other four games are bad. They are just incredibly bad when compared to Star Wars Episode 2, which in my opinion is the epitome of a fantastic Star Wars game. So, well, leave a comment if you want to, and next week I'll be doing a new top 5, and in the meantime, comment to see which top 5 I should do, and I'll see if I'll do that one, see if I have the DVD or the game on it. Thank you. So, this is the Sam T456 with his top 5 Star Wars games. Thank you very much.